this boy be?
Welcome back. In my word, I think it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks at best since we last had a podcast. My word. I don't even know. I don't even remember how to begin this thing. Welcome in everybody to a new live edition of the Wisemen Say podcast. Ty Fisher alongside Jerald Lucas, Derik, Abbott. My friends, how art thou this humid Wednesday?
No rain, so can't complain. No rain, can't complain.
I'm all right.
Okay, well then.
Nah, it's been a tough couple of weeks, honestly. That's been stressful, so it's good to be back on here.
We'll bring some humor to your day, brighten your day up. Or something like that.
My friends, we have reached the midway season of the 2025 MLS campaign for the Columbus Crew. Figured we just talk about the first half of the season, what to expect coming into the second half of the season, and figure we just do that. Nothing too extravagant, you know what I mean, and hopefully we can get the good vibes coming for the second half of the season when we take on the Vancouver Whitecaps in 2 weeks. So what do you say? Mid-season review?
Yeah, that game is in 2 weeks.
14th, yeah.
Oh. I don't know why I thought it was this week. That sucks.
Nah, it's the 14th. We got the international break.
We ran through so many games here in the past 2 weeks or so that I guess I got spoiled.
Fair enough. I mean, I think we all did, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, I mean, Columbus now starting to hit a little bit of a slump here. Winless in their last 6 games. 0 wins. I think it was 4 draws, 2 losses. I mean, what went wrong this first half of the season?
I don't think it went too far outside of maybe what some of our general initial thoughts were for the season. I think we performed above where we thought we would in the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now we're maybe coming back to reality a little bit in terms of, missing some star players that jettisoned out, at the beginning of the season. And I think we were hopeful and got really excited naturally when the season started and how we were performing. But the month of May was really brutal for us.
Yeah.
We were, predicting all of the, how many points could we get and these upcoming games and running the gauntlet and all that. And obviously it just kind of caught up to us. And I don't know, I've said, a bunch of times that this is kind of the team we have. So we just need to buckle in and kind of go along for the ride. And the ride is now we're going down on the roller coaster ride a bit. So hopefully with this break and getting into July, like Connor said, silly season and stuff, we start to kind of get that momentum back up again.
What happened is the shuffling of the lineup.
Good point.
Breaking up some of that chemistry and putting players in there that to see what they have and starting them off, that killed the chemistry. That killed the timing. That killed, everything, right? And before the shuffle changes, you know what I'm saying, the crew were top three. Once you start changing those starting 11s, changing, putting Ibrahim in or putting, AZ in, or taking out Dylan, and you know what I'm saying? Uh, taking away that chemistry right there and trying to build chemistry with others in a short period of time did not go well for the month of May. And I hate to say it, but Jason was that catalyst.
I was just about to say last Wednesday at the game, I don't know, half, by half, I was like, I can't believe, that I'm really saying this out loud, but like, we need Russell Rowe in there to like get more cohesion here. So you're spot on. It just felt like you don't have that attacking presence currently. And he, at least for, sometimes missing shots or maybe not being in the right place at all times and that type of thing, that seems like a glaring omission on the team. Is you have a bunch of people looking to pass and different things like that, but you don't have like someone who's constantly making movements to put themselves in the position to score. And that, at least to me on Wednesday in particular, that was very noticeable.
I mean, but let's face it though, we don't have a Cucho right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, is that we have Jason, we have Diego, and we have Daniel. For everybody saying that Daniel's been a bust, y'all need to pipe down. Because you got to take a look. Diego didn't come on strong until the playoff run.
This is like mirroring the Diego.
Exactly. He's been under Jim Curtin for so long that, what I'm saying, trying to switch from Jim Curtin to Nazi, there's a little bit of, a little bit of struggle right there, right? But the cohesion and the chemistry of having Jason and Diego right there, yes, Jason's not Cucho, Diego's not Cucho. But at the same time, you're still able to move defenders if you start taking more shots. If you're getting those crosses, if you're getting those, passes to you, you got to take those shots instead of passing them up.
Oh, yeah. And again, Wednesday was like the absolute epitome of that. It was driving me mad how it was just passing. And they were parking not fully, but, in a lot of cases, parking the bus. And we had the ball in their half, like almost the entire first half, and couldn't really do anything because everyone was just passing. Then they take a shot from the outside, which is great when we're doing it. But if you're not doing it enough because you can't get in there, you're still not giving yourself a chance to even get a rebound or something to try to score on, or, any of that. It was just that was infuriating actually at the time.
I mean, I kind of echo everything you guys have said. You guys took the words right out of my mouth, honestly. I just think that, and I kind of agree to disagree with Manuel's comment about we can't score. We're scoring goals. We're just not finishing out the
game.
We're not finishing out the process. We can't turn dominance into victories. We're scoring goals, right? But we're not turning the dominance of, the possession and whatnot into victories, right? I mean, we've outpossessed every team we've played so far, right? I think in the final third, as far as, the goal scoring opportunities, I don't think we're making that final pass enough times, right? We're trying to shoot into traffic. We're trying to, keep it around the outside. We're just not having the guts to just take a shot. I mean, hell, Steven ripped a shot from distance. It was against Nashville, right? I mean, that's just yeah, we're down by what, one? Were we down or did we take the lead or whatnot? I can't remember what happened.
We were
I
down.
think we were. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're down a goal, and we need to make something happen. But I mean, hell, if you have the shot, just take the shot. Force the keeper to do something because then it's just getting too predictable, right? Teams are going to send 2, 3 defenders against Max, against Mo, um, Darlington, Dylan, etc. Right? And then it's like, well, if we can't rely on Diego, who else we're going to rely on? Jason. I think Jason needs more minutes, right? I do think bringing Daniel off the bench would be good, right? Maybe for a couple games or so, because then I think the trio of Diego, uh, Ibrahim or Aliu, and Jason can do something. Um, hang on, Yoder, Jesus Christ, and then I do think AZ needs more playing time also. People dog on AZ because he's so sporadic and like or whatever it is, he's so like spazzy and whatnot. But I'm like, I think that's kind of what the team needs a little bit. He's like a ball of energy and he can definitely manipulate one or two attackers into baiting for a foul, right? Now we look at the defensive side. I don't think we miss Rudy. Rudy is a shadow of himself from 2023, right? You look at the game specifically that I'm about to point out is the Miami game from last year at home, right? He was the factor of 2 of the 3 goals, right? So I think that I like Yevon, and I've said it in our staff predictions over our massive report. I think Yevon will be defensive player of the year. I also think that Yevon has grown a liking to being that anchor in the center as center back where Rudy was because I think he's more of a vocal leader on the back line than say Amundsen or Steven, because those two guys like to get up into the attack more often than Yevon does. Even though at the beginning of the game, you might see Yevon Shaberko make a 40-yard run from box to box, and then boom, all of a sudden something's going to happen. Not really much on the midfield. I do like Dylan. He's grown a lot under Nancy. Darlington is Darlington, so that's pretty much a given, right? But I think it's just this team. I don't think they're good enough in the final third, right? And Nancy, Jerald, I think you can attest to this. Nancy is always wanting this team to make that one extra pass in the final third. They're not doing it, right? I think it's more so of the fact that now we have teams that have kind of unlocked or figured out how Columbus play, and now they're kind of just shell shocked, right? Because in 23 it was so easy because we were so reliant on Cucho to do this, to do that, and start an attack, right? That Diego is somewhat doing it. Jason is somewhat doing it. Aliu isn't doing it because he's new, and that's fine. But I don't think that the void of Cucho has kind of resonated with the guys, and now they're like, okay, we really have to step up. Now, I could be absolutely wrong in that, yeah, they're 100% ready to step up, but who's going to make these little off the ball movements that Cucho did? Who's going to collect in front of the back line and spring Mo Farsi or Max on a 20, 30, 35-yard run for a quick counterattack? It's not going to be Dylan. It's not going to be Darlington, right? It's not going to be Amundsen. It's not going to be Steven. It's not going to be Yevon. right? So whoever is that 9, I think would kind of need to be more of a center forward than just a sole striker, if that makes sense. Our record 7-3-7. I think that's fine, right? We're 5th, so 2 points separate us and Cincinnati. I don't see a problem with anything that the standings tell us, although I would like to be second because I do think we could have snuck a win from some of these games in May, right? I think we could have snuck a win against Nashville. I do think we could have snuck a win against Charlotte. And I do think that with a proper mindset, we could have easily beaten Miami. That's a stretch.
Should have beat Montreal.
Did we tie that game?
Yes.
Yeah. So we could have left May with how many games did we have? 5. We had what? 6 games in May? 5?
Yeah. 6,
5 or 6?
I think.
6? With at least 4 wins and 2 draws.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 wins, 2 draws, and a loss because Charlotte is Charlotte. That field is just a thorn in everybody's side. People just like talk shit on the internet. Yes, I know.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yes, Connor, I know. People like talk shit. Do you think that Rudy's doing a Josh Williams 2023 without injured all year and then retires at the end of the year? No.
It's possible.
One of you mentioned that a few weeks ago, and at the time I was like, "Oh, okay." I never really thought about that, but one of the games recently, you just see it. You don't really get a lot of updates on him other than he's progressing and needs more time and all this, but we don't really have much more information on it. And I feel like that kind of happened with Josh Williams, and then we kind of found people who slotted in and played really well. So we kind of no offense to him, but we kind of forgot about him. And I'm starting to feel that way about Rudy. Like I don't if I don't see his name on an injury report, I would be more shocked than anything at this point.
Well, I know I'm gonna catch some heat for this, but one person that I feel, me personally, that has fallen off a little is Sean Zawatsky.
Oh,
we don't talk about him as much as we have.
You just open a whole can of worms with that.
But hear me out though. Hear me out though. He was supposed to take over for Aiden, right? But then he started getting thrown around in the Swiss Army knife. And yes, this year he has, hell, he kept Messi in check, against, Miami, right? Up there in Cleveland. He was there, going neck and neck, but he's had a couple game winners, game tires, but you don't see too much from him because, Dylan has sort of taken that spot, taken Aiden's spot, and you put Sean in, now you're taking away from Yevon. And, like Connor said, shout out to Yevon for getting called up to the Ukrainian national team. I don't think he gets that call up if he doesn't have the season and gets comfortable there as that center back.
Yeah.
Having to rotate with Amundsen over there on that left back and having Sean there in the middle. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Zawatsky. Mm-hmm. Just because of his versatility. But, yes, he did get hurt. I'll give him that. But other than that, it's like he sort of waits in the shadows like Darkwing Duck, right? And it comes out of nowhere.
Love the Darkwing Duck drop right there. Awesome. And I think that is like sometimes what happens to people who get into kind of this Swiss Army knife role too at times is that they have the propensity to make these big flashes in really flashy things and everything, but when they are truly in that army knife role where maybe their role is to lock somebody down or something, that, not for lack of them doing a good job or anything, but they don't contribute as much to the goal scoring or maybe the the fun high energy side of the game, and so it's easy to not think of them a whole lot when it comes to us talking about players too, which for better or worse, I mean, we would of course love him to do all those things. It's great that he's excelling in the roles that he's given, but yeah, he's kind of moved out of those positions that typically I think would give him the best chance to be talked about the most.
Don't get me wrong. I think, when it comes time to for subs and things, if Sean is starting, I think he needs to be moved up to that midfield.
Yeah, that's
instead of back. Instead of back to the to the back line, especially if you have Yevon already out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can have Yevon out there. If you're starting Sean and Sean's in the middle, and you put Yevon at left back, whenever a sub is made, especially like if Dylan comes out, if Dylan comes out, then you can move Sean up there to the midfield, Yevon over to the middle, and bring Amundsen in there on the left. So I mean, it's. I know I'm gonna catch some heat for it, but I mean, it's just,
put Dylan up with Miguel says Sean needs to be in the midfield, put Dylan up with Diego and have Gazdag as the 9. I mean,
I can see that happening.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a terrible idea. If you're not going to put Russell Rowe in the starting lineup, I mean, that's a way to go for sure.
I think what happens is, if that were to happen, right, you move Aliu to the bench, right? Diego, Dylan, Jason as a 3 up top, Sean in the midfield, or sorry, Daniel, Diego, Dylan. So
triple D.
Yeah, triple D up as the 3, Sean in the midfield. And I think that would actually kind of be a surprising move. But
at least to start a game. If it doesn't work at half, then you make some changes, get Russell Rowe out there. You can tinker around with it. But if we're in the current stretch of changing up our lineups all the time, why not try that lineup?
Yeah. I also go ahead.
Here's the funny thing. You talk about that number 9, like Cucho did, starting some of those attacks, right? And coming back a little bit and then attacking. That wouldn't be bad to try Daniel there, right? Because if he's starting the attack, the whole league knows how dangerous Gazdag can be.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you were to have Diego and Jason out there, or Aliu and Diego, or Aliu and Jason, or AZ, some combination out there also, you could still have Daniel as that 9, but he drops back first before going forward, right? So I mean, he necessarily wouldn't be the 9; he still would be an 8, somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
Playing a 9 position.
He was kind of known in Philly
for penalty kicks.
Yeah, first penalty kicks, and then setting up the goals in a lot of cases, right? Wasn't necessarily like a run a play goal scorer as much as like getting other people, like helping other people get into position, or if they draw the penalty, then he takes the penalty kicks.
Yeah,
he's the one drawing the penalty.
Yeah,
he is. Here's the thing, right? And this is the thing that really makes me upset with with Crew fans and Daniel. It's this. I've said this plenty of times before, and I'm going to keep saying it until people actually get it in their heads. Right when Lucas Zelarayan left for Saudi Arabia, and Columbus brought in Diego Rossi. People were so, and I'm not even people. Columbus Crew fans were so on board with it because they remember his days with LAFC, right? They remember him scoring goals, him, helping LAFC win a lot of games, to Supporter Shield, to being runner-ups in the CONCACAF Champions Cup against Club Leon, whatever. They were so excited because we have a promising forward that can score goals, that can kind of replicate and play make exactly like Lucas Zelarayan. Yes, we're golden now. When he didn't do that, because he was put into a more of a false 9-10 role, right, in a whole different system, that is when people were like, "Oh, this isn't the Diego Rossi that we know. Da 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 da. He's a bust, etc., etc., etc." This is the same thing that's happening with Daniel Gazdag, right? Daniel Gazdag was a phenomenal player. It is a phenomenal player. He was great with Philadelphia, scoring goals. The passing Sebastian Letou for the most goals in Philadelphia Union history, right? Daniel Gazdag is MVP. He's done this. He's done that. We're going to get a freaking powerhouse now. Daniel Gazdag has now been in Columbus for 9-10 games. And yes, he still has yet to record a goal or get a goal contribution, but he is playing in a whole new system, under a whole new coach. And the fact that Philadelphia Union is more of an attacking team, that fit him so good. And Columbus is more of a possession-based team, to where we play simple soccer and we find the right avenue to exploit a team's back line. People are now like, "Oh, this isn't the Daniel Gazdag that we know. Oh, he's a bust. He's this. He's that. Da, 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 he sucks." Da, da. If tactics are not your strong suit, or being able to actually figure out why Gazdag is so quiet, maybe a zipper over your mouth would work. I
Or
played
put the
enough
phone
FIFA.
down.
I
Put
played
the
enough
phone down
FIFA
and
to
not
figure this
tweet.
out.
Yeah.
You said what?
I said put the phone down and not like tweet or get on Facebook or
Yeah.
things like that. Like just
And
take a breather for a second.
and I'm not saying that fans should not be critical, because they can be critical, right? Everybody can be critical of whatnot. Yes, we are in we're in a stretch of winless games, but at the same time, it's not that hard to figure out that, okay, let's actually look at this as a neutral, right? Was it Jim? Yeah, Jim Curtin was a coach similar to Bradley Carnell right now, right? They love attacking. They love being able to play through the middle, right? Which is where Gazdag would play. Nancy is more of a, let's play the wings and play slow, because the more time that we have the ball and we are trying to frustrate our opponent, the easier the goals will come. We haven't had that in a while, but if you're looking at it through a neutral's eyes, it's still one of those things to where if the right ball is found at Gazdag's feet, he's going to get a goal. Now, it doesn't have to be every time the ball's at his feet, but it can be a counterattack. It can be a parry from the keeper after, say, a Steven Moreira shot from distance, right? It's going to come, and the expectations that were set a little bit too high for Daniel Gazdag. Jerald said it best. When Diego came in, he didn't start off right away. He didn't, start contributing until late in the season. We're halfway through the season. I think Daniel's going to be on that track that Diego had, and he'll start contributing once the season starts to dwindle down, and we're fighting for that number 1, number 2 spot in the Eastern Conference.
That was almost like a bold prediction you gave us there.
What can I say?
Yeah, I think everyone just, again, this is what we have. There are certainly frustrating aspects of it, but it's almost like, everybody forgets the last player that came in. I can't think of a player that came in and immediately grasped the system and just was off to the race, especially like a higher caliber, a player with really high expectations, I should say. I thought Lucas did a pretty good job overall. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not an easy system to learn, and again, when you're switching up the lineups and stuff like that, that doesn't necessarily help somebody earn cohesion, or get cohesion amongst the individuals that they're playing with on any given time on the pitch either. So I think, I don't know, you just got to put a little perspective into it. I think personally, I'm not like overly surprised that we're in like 5th place right now. I think we're actually, based upon how May went, like a little bit fortunate. Some of these other teams have also not necessarily been playing very well either. So I think we should look at the positive side of that. And if I remember correctly, the second half of the schedule actually favors us a lot. And of course, like some of these games, that we just highlighted, we should have won, both against teams that aren't very good and teams that are really good. But if most of our upcoming schedule is against teams that are on paper ones that we should be beating, I don't have any reason to think that we can't get it a good run of form together. And frankly, I don't know, maybe I just like kind of kept it in a certain context where this is very Columbus Crew, regardless of the coach, where we go at some point in the season, and a lot of times it's been around this time of the season, where we get into a rut. Now, a lot of times with Porter, it might end up at a little bit later in the season, but we still had like a month to a month and a half at any point in a given season. I'm sure with Nanti, it's been the same way. We get into a rut, and then we all get really frustrated, and then all of a sudden things start clicking. Everybody starts riding high again, and then we see what happens, if we get to the playoffs and what happens in the playoffs at that point. But just thinking about it, I'm like, if this is when we do get in the historical rut, then I'm perfectly okay with that. With everything that we've had so far, I would be perfectly fine with it being now versus August, September.
We were like this in 2023.
Was this the time of the year?
Yes. We were going into, the first year of Leagues Cup, summer. We were sitting about 5th or 6th, if I could recall. Come out of Leagues Cup, and things just start going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Ty's gonna pull it up.
7,
We're gonna get a little history. I love this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so in 2023, this was a game. My word, this was a great game.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so
which one?
6-1 Atlanta.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was
that was a great game.
That was amazing.
So 2023, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm looking at 9 wins. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 draws, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses. So essentially, we're kind of where we were in 2023.
My point exactly. We're right
So
where
put our money on the cup.
we're right where we were for 2023. Plain and simple. Everybody wants that instant gratification, instant satisfaction of players coming in here and making a splash big, right away.
Yeah.
Nazi's system is complex, but it's simple. It seems like it's a simple system, but with everything that he does with his schemes that he has and how he lines everybody up is complicated. It's complex. So when you go from attack-minded, diamond formation and Jim Curtains to Nazi who likes to play with the back three, or a back five sometimes, to being, a wing-based, possession-style team, it's going to take him some games to get used to. And then you bring in some of these other players, it's taken away minutes from allowing some players to step up. You want to see what some of these players that they brought in, like Aliou, right? You want to see what he can do. Yes, he does have some speed, but I think he's more, could be used more like a Derik Etienne, Luis Diaz on the wings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Instead of being up there in the 8, 9, 10 roles, right? So I mean, that's where I think I would put him, but I'm not the head coach. I'm not making 7 figures or plus, more. But when you start switching up these lineups like that you start losing that cohesion that has already been built.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I'm gonna say it. Jason does need to be starting.
Yeah, I would agree.
And his replacement should be AZ. That's how
I disagree with the replacement. I would say, if anything, are you saying move Aliou to the bench?
Yes.
I think Jason's replacement would be should be Aliou. The only reason why is because he's had decent chances so far when he starts, that I think maybe there's a little bit of I'm new, I want to make a good impression on the gaffer so I can continue starting. I think if Jason starts, with the way that Aliou is able to also sneak in behind the back line, with that, we can finish out games and turn those into victories. And I think Aliou would be a good replacement, a good sub, because then he can probably get even more chances, because Columbus will be frustrating opponents enough to where they're just going to go balls to the wall and throw everybody at like Darlington Agby or Dylan. And now we're just absolutely hitting on the counterattack. And Aliou does have the speed too.
I give him that. Like I said, he has the speed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's more of a Derik, Luis Diaz type of player. And if you go that route, then I would bring AZ in for Mo or Max.
I don't like the idea of taking Mo off the field ever.
But here's
not
the
on
thing.
The wing though.
Why not? Because if you take out Jason, right, and you put Aliou in for his sub, right? So then if you also bring in AZ, who has some speed that can create havoc on those wings because he's a spaz ball, he's spastic, and he's like a little kid that got diagnosed with ADHD that didn't take his Adderall and is every which way, right? So now he's creating that havoc on the wings, allowing Alu to get behind, right?
I don't.
I mean that's just me. Or if you're gonna do that, I mean it's hard taking Diego out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah, you don't. You definitely don't.
I
wanna do
just
that.
have a hard time picturing either of them starting in kind of that striker role, to be honest. Like, I like both of them as players and what they bring to the table, but I just have a hard time imagining that they are going to be able to just pull up in the front line and like be a goal scoring threat consistently. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that either of their skill sets, they have good skill sets and they can certainly be out there even starting and really lend themselves to what we're trying to do. But it almost feels like we are trying to play chess with not all of the pieces, or like we're trying to move pieces that shouldn't be in those positions into those positions. That's just in my opinion overall on it. I don't know. I'm just like putting myself like I don't know well enough about the other teams, but like would other teams do that? And I hold ourselves in higher regard than most teams in the first place.
Yeah.
So would like Philadelphia or Miami obviously would not, but like some of these teams that are higher up ranked, like would if they had these guys on their teams and in this situation would I mean I guess you kind of need to right now, like that maybe the thing you just have to do for some games as a potential option of just changing things up, but maybe it comes back to I don't know. Like I would almost rather move Shambost up at that point because I feel like he's much more of like a what I would assume would fit that role. And maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong on that.
I still think though, like if Shambos or Nagby has to come out the game, when he subs, midfield, I really think Sean needs to be there in that midfield
Yeah,
because
I think
Sean has the ability to make some turns to open that midfield. Because he's been playing defense so much, he has that defensive mind when it comes to making runs and starting things. So he could actually start the attack there in the middle if he's up there. But I still would like to see, Havoc on the wings.
I like it. I like that a lot.
I don't know if you guys saw Nick's comment. Glasshouse Soccer.
Yeah,
Havoc on the Wings would be a great band name.
for sure.
So now the question is, fellas, we get into the second half of the season. 3 straight home games before 3 straight away games to start the month of July. One of which I will be going to. Actually, I think 2 of which I will be going to. I know one for sure. But in case you guys didn't watch the game, the Vancouver Whitecaps absolutely got dismantled by Cruz Azul in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. Even worse than we did, right? They didn't have diarrhea, though. Okay.
They brought their own chefs.
Yeah, lucky.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Did you hear, like, everybody that they brought before, like, the team even made it down there?
They learned from Columbus's mistake.
Yeah, we had to set that example for everybody else, unfortunately.
They brought chefs. They brought
Aces of water.
Like team executive staff. They brought like mental health coaches. Everybody. I was like, dang, bro, what in the world? So
Cases of Pepto-Bismol.
My word. So we play a very, as my buddy put it, pissed off Vancouver Whitecaps side to start the second half of the season. Overall,
lovely.
Overall, how do you think the Columbus Crew finish out the 2025 season? Third? Okay.
Yeah, I would be, unless we brought in one really big and good piece and maybe like another on kind of under the radar, but ends up being really good piece. I don't know. There's a lot of shuffling that goes on the Eastern Conference in the top. I mean, nobody's been up there consistently in the first place or even second place for any given amount of time. So I feel like we could be anywhere from first to fourth.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not first, to be honest, but I would like us to be first. How about that? But
Philly would have to drop a lot of games, including the one against us.
Oh shit! Battered hands on.
I'm not gonna lie. I agree, and I don't know if this is Chris or Danny. I agree with them. I agree with the battered hand saying that Columbus will finish fourth or fifth.
As long as we get a home playoff game, I'll be happy.
Yes, that is what I want, because I would not want to be on the road for the entirety of the playoffs.
No,
I think
no.
No. If the playoffs were to start now, we'd have Nashville. Well, we would get a home playoff game, because I think don't they do the best of 3 series in the first round?
Yes. Yeah.
So we would get one home playoff game. One.
Now,
and then after that, it's
to circle back to our previous thing. I think Nashville, where it currently stands with our roster, I feel like Nashville did the best job, in my opinion, of being able to stop our attack. Now, granted, put aside Gazdag having a million chances, albeit not all of them like the best chances for sure, but like there were a lot of chances there, and he didn't get his goal. That was unfortunate, but I thought they did a great job of like really congesting up the wings and the sides of, like, there was no way we were really going to penetrate from the sides for the most part. It did kind of break down after a while. We did kind of slowly get them to move off of it, but for a while there, I mean, they just had a clamp down on it. Like, we weren't getting really any kind of penetration on the sides, at least not of anything notable. It always had to get kicked back up top, where we were just not capitalizing on opportunities at given times. But I would not expect them to be able to roll that out again if that was their game plan, if we played them in the playoffs. We haven't played them down there yet, right? I think we talked about this.
Who, Nashville?
Yeah.
We played them in July.
We played.
Okay. I know we talked about this a week or two ago.
Is it?
We played them in July. It's a Wednesday game.
It's a Wednesday, yeah. Because I remember talking about this.
Yep, you're right. Yep, because it goes Vancouver, Atlanta, Philly in June. I think it is.
Yep.
Pull up.
No, I think Columbus finishes third.
Yep, there.
Worst
16th.
case.
Yep.
Worst case, they finish fourth at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I hate saying this, but I think it's going to be either Philly or Miami up for the Shield again. I don't see Cincy winning it.
Don't give these silly clowns at Battered Herons the satisfaction of them winning another plate.
They got to eat on something while they're down there on South Beach, right? They
definitely hit on us, man, because like, holy hell, 5-1 is absolutely ridiculous.
The fact that they did that to us too, with their back line being out, was just
off. Dude.
I have not felt that bad about a Crew game in quite some time. I was real low on the mood elevator for that one.
I mean, it's, you know, realistically, I do see the Crew finishing third and hell making a run. You know, I think the Supporter Shield does stay in the East. So which means, you know, the MLS championship game will be played in the East Stadium. Which will be lower.com this year.
Just go ahead and reserve those parking spots for whatever date in December that's scheduled for.
Right. Biggest question on everybody's mind, right? especially now that we've hit June and the summer transfer window is about to open. Who does Columbus bring in?
Cucho.
You better not put that out there. People are going to think that's a real possibility.
The Columbus Crew are set to sign Hucho Hernandez.
Yeah, his brother. His twin brother we didn't know about.
His twin brother, Hucho Hernandez. I think I don't know.
It's hard saying, it's hard saying because it's like, on one hand, Issa wants to go get this guy, but Nazi's like, that guy's not going to fit our system.
Yeah.
So it's like, player versus system, it clashes, and trying to find the right one, it's just like fucking pulling teeth at the dentist.
If given a choice, would you rather have, I'm asking you too, because I know if I put this out into the interwebs, I know what the answer would be. Would you rather have player who doesn't fit the system, or maybe not as flashy of a name, but player who fits the system? If it came to like Issa versus Nancy having their way.
Say that again. What do we
Would you rather
have?
Have like the splashy name that Issa is willing to sign, but we know is not going to fit Nancy's system based upon just how they play or attitude, whatever it may be? Or would you have someone that is not as readily known, but has all of the abilities to score and all of that and fits the system?
I'd much rather have the latter. Only because I think it would take less time for them to adapt, right? Because essentially you're just saying, all right, here is the exact same blueprint that we laid out for you. That is the same way that your team played when you played in wherever you're from. All you have to do is just follow the back line of the opposition. We will get the ball to you. That's literally it. Your job, and this is a thing on FC. Your role is a poacher. That's all you got to do. You're just there. Mm-hmm. We will do the dirty work. You're just there to score goals. I don't want a flashy player. I don't want now. Granted, Kevin Denke isn't a flashy player, but man, oh man, that guy can absolutely score some goals for Cincinnati. I don't want a flashy player because then it would get too caught up on the fact that, oh, hey, we have XYZ. Hasn't exactly done much. Like Haji Wright. Haji Wright is nowhere near the player I would want for the Columbus Crew. Timo Werner, nowhere near the player I would want for the Columbus Crew. That's just me personally, right?
Marcus Rashford.
Rashford, nowhere near the player I want for the Columbus Crew.
And those are the names that I think a lot of people online throw around is like, we got to go get this person, and I think it's not inevitably the right person.
Look, I know this is a flashy name, but I'm just saying. Jamie Vardy, Jerald, you brought this up a while ago. Jamie Vardy would absolutely dog in Wilfried Nancy's system. This guy, he is the ultimate shithousery forward that a team like Columbus needs, because I think Columbus is a bit too timid. You said what? Soft?
It's possible.
How much would he cost? That's also a factor.
Free. He free. His contract was up listed. They didn't sign him. He's a free transfer.
Oh! Someone said he's 38 though. I don't like the idea of him being 38.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Look at Messi.
Jamie.
Well, that's a big difference, though.
It's not. No, it's not. Messi is a flashy player, and he's up there in age, right? Olivier Giroud is a flashy player. He's up there in age. Hugo Lloris, flashy player. He's up there in age. Granted, he's a goalkeeper. Luis Suarez, definitely up there in age. Flashy player.
But these are like, I just don't know. Like, and this is
Jamie Vardy would fit the system because all you would have to do is get him the ball.
I don't even think Vardy would be on a DP contract. He's a free. We get him on a TAM deal.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Because
would he be willing to come here on a TAM deal? Miami can go get those people.
The guy's 38. I'm sure he's willing to take whatever deal can make him money.
How many years?
nobody wants somebody from fucking Arsenal.
2 years. I go
no
2
Arsenal.
years.
I will agree with that. No Arsenal. We don't want them.
I'd go 2-year deal.
That's perfect for me.
2-year deal. What are we saying? $2 million?
2.5.
2.5 plus incentives.
Listen, 2.5 goes a lot longer and goes a lot further in Columbus, Ohio than it does in Miami, Florida, or LA, or any of the big East Coast hubs. So we do have that. That's a good point.
Let's go get what's his name from United, the Danish kid. Rasmus Højlund.
Yeah, here's my thing. Like I see this a lot online, and people are like throwing out names, and I'm like, okay, but you have to put the caveat is how much would they cost if they're free? That's great, obviously, but like
He said,
we're not going to be going for somebody who's going to cost $30 million. We're just never going to do that. You know?
No, and that's what's wrong with a lot of people online, right? Columbus needs to compete with Miami for
why tie all your money up on one player and you're not able to sign, others?
If MLS will allow more spending, I think Columbus could go after not really like a Gabriel Jesus or Rasmus Højlund, Kai Havertz type of people, but say more like a Xavi Simmons, Amad Diallo.
I'd take Diallo.
Maybe on a reach.
Vinny?
If he wasn't going somewhere, if Columbus would have made the right move, maybe a KDB, but I'm just saying that's just me.
Vinny?
Dog. We would have to that would be absolutely just like capsizing Deshaun Watson's contract. Columbus would have to absolutely liquidate.
Hey, you know what? Actually,
and we'd actually have to move back to Cleveland.
If we just wait for one more year till roughly the day, we might all of a sudden have a lot of money to be able to play with from ownership. If the Browns decide to jettison out Watson. I mean, the contract's guaranteed, but they've negotiated around some aspects of it to maybe lighten the load. I don't know how all of that works, but
hey, KDB's still in play though.
It's not. Doesn't somebody own his discovery rights? Who owns the discovery rights on
Miami?
Of course they do.
Well, so I've heard that KDB turned down a move to MLS.
Oh, okay.
In general.
Just said he's not for him.
Yeah. I heard he's turned down a move to MLS. Yeah, it's Napoli.
Aren't they in some trouble? I feel like I read that they're in some trouble.
I think that was a couple years. I think that was a couple years ago.
Okay.
I think they're out of that now.
I might be thinking of a different team over in that.
There is a team in Europe that isn't financially whatever, that can't do anything. I just can't remember who it is. So, but
Inter Milan.
I don't know. Inter Milan, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
of.
that's
right. Yeah.
So, I don't know. Columbus is a very strange team when it comes to transfers because it took the couple. No. Connor,
you're reaching, Connor.
You're reaching a little bit, buddy.
Go to timeout.
Jackie. Now, although Jackie Grealish would look nice in black and gold, he's rode the bench so long for City. Yeah. Get Ivan Toney from. I wouldn't mind Ivan Toney.
Now, I think that Saudi league. Now, I don't know recently, but I mean, they weren't doing so hot in terms of like attendance and stuff. And
Yeah,
I know
no,
they're getting
still
paid a
not.
lot of money, but if you get some players that don't necessarily, I mean, I know that's hard to say that they don't care about money because I don't mean it like that, but I mean, if they're really passionate about the sport and stuff like that, and that's not really their scene after they get there for a year or two, you could potentially get some decent people from over there to come over here potentially. We haven't really seen a lot of that yet, but I mean,
Go
oh my
get
God, Benzema? No way.
Go get Paul Mullins.
now
Oh,
he
man.
might be 40, right? He's up there.
He's up there, yeah.
Or
He's
Ollie
up there,
Palmer.
yeah. Who?
Ollie Palmer. Their other
Ollie.
forward for Wrexham.
Oh. I thought you were mixing up Ollie Watkins and Cole Palmer.
No. His name is Ollie Palmer.
If the Columbus Crew ever get
Paul Mullins is only 29.
he's
Really?
29.
Wow, I thought he was 10 years older.
That's what I thought too. If the Columbus Crew were to ever sign Cole Palmer, I'm taking my journalistic abilities and I'm going down 71 South.
You're taking him elsewhere. Whoa, hold on now. 71 South. No. I think the construction will be too bad down there. You won't even be able to make it past the outer belt. Don't even try it.
I'm going down 71 South. No. I'm just no way that I do not want Cole Palmer wearing black and gold. I cannot stand that kid. It's so weird saying that for me because like I'm 28 and he's younger than me, and me saying I can't stand that kid is wild.
Go get the prodigy out there, Barca. Yasmiel.
Who?
I forget how to say his damn name, but the teenager. That's
Lamine Yamal?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Columbus would have to liquidate. Here comes another rumor of relocation because the Columbus Crew are going to go after Lamine Yamal. Ain't no
breaking news.
Cole Palmer's one of my favorite players. Okay, and one of your favorite players is an absolute shithead. I cannot stand Cole Palmer. There's something about him. I hate that little celebration he does too. It's just
so. Let me ask you: would you go get Declan Rice?
Love you, Connor. Huh?
Would you go get Declan Rice?
No. No, I wouldn't. As much as I love Declan Rice, I wouldn't.
Connor just said, "Let's go take Xerxes from United."
I mean, he's having a little bit of trouble in the Promised Land.
That whole team.
It's not even the Promised Land anymore. I have no idea what we are. Where's the layout? United's not even the Promised Land anymore. I don't know what we are. We're just crap.
And there's been like absolutely zero rumors about anybody, right? At this given time. Okay.
The only rumor that has been Columbus related is that we turned down a deal from Toulouse for Arfston.
Oh, yeah.
Which
I mean, we can't. I mean, we're not in a position to even be doing that deal, in my opinion. Like that would anger the fan base greatly for multiple reasons. But I mean, we do not have enough backup to replace that currently.
No.
It would be very bad.
No, not at all. I mean, other than that, I'm excited to see what the second half of the season has for the Columbus Crew. Honestly, because now it's like, all right, can we have a break, which we are now, and kind of get back to our ways of playing our soccer, right? Let's let's tough it out for the next couple weeks. I don't even know when the transfer window opens, honestly. Is it beginning of July?
I thought it was like the beginning, but I think historically we don't end up making either moves or the players don't start for us. For maybe that's like a specific rule around it until like early August. I feel like it's typically been the
July
case.
24th.
And
Oh shoot! Okay, so maybe that's why it says no until then. All right.
So I'm excited to see what this second half of the season has for the Columbus Crew. I think the biggest question is, as a whole, can we confide in one another to get through these few games of June and July until we get that number 9 that we need and a center back? Because I firmly do believe, a lot of people said we need a center back. I firmly do believe we need another center back.
Yeah.
Charlotte's rumored to go after Jamie Vardy.
I did see that. Yeah, I did see that. I also saw I think Red Bulls also.
It just shows on Transfer Market, just Charlotte.
How has Charlotte become like? Charlotte all of a sudden is like in the mix for everybody. This is crazy.
Hey, but they're going after players that make sense.
True.
They're not pulling Miami stunt and going after
everybody. Literally
literally everybody. My word. So I don't know. What do you boys think about the second half of the season? You guys excited for it?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. We got firework night coming up. That's always a good time. Oh, one thing though that I will say is whoever is I talked about this during the game up in Cleveland. Whoever's coming up with the halftime like things to keep people entertained, we got to step our game up. The person doing we didn't even wear the Goosebumps kits, and then during the Cincinnati game, like the lady that did the painting thing, like it was kind of cool, but it didn't really need to be in the middle of the field at halftime. Her painting a thing. There was a lot going on there. I didn't know. I was like, what just happened? Like some of that stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
We could do if we're gonna do these things. We gotta be able to have better ideas. Put us out there in the giant bubble things and let's run into each other at least. Like, come on. I'll volunteer for that.
Jerald?
I'm excited. I never really skipped. I had any panic, because stats and analysis are on the side of we've been here before. And, that's why you trust the head coach, right? Everybody wants flashy players. They want this, they want that. They want to bankrupt a team just to bring in one player. When, like I said, why overpay one star player? And then you won't be able to focus on, some of the other areas of the team that the team needs.
Mm-hmm.
Find the right one that will come in at the right price. And then you can find multiple pieces that you need. So I think, we might not see a number 9 this summer.
Oh, you
we
better
might
not
see
put that out there.
We might. I've already said it. We might not. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We might not see a number 9 come in the summer. We might see some defense. We might see some wingers. We might see some mids. We might see a number 9. Who knows, right? But there's other positions also too that we need to shore up to stop letting these goals in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's our back line. There needs to be a stronger back line. I love, who we have, but when you start moving those pieces out and you start bringing in others in, it's like removing, a cork out of a boat and the boat just starts filling up until, finally the boat breaks in half and now you got another Titanic episode. So I mean, that's how I look at it. I haven't panicked at all this season. Maybe we will, maybe we won't see some, a splash. Maybe it is some players that, are right there at that middle level, but being under Nancy is going to take them up a notch, so who knows?
I think the biggest asset we have is not any individual player, it's Nancy in the system. And so I think everybody needs to remember that to a degree with who we bring in. Like you said, if we don't bring in a 9, or maybe we do and it's not somebody, this big splashy person that everyone knows of or things like that. Yeah, exactly. No superstar. And get somebody who fits the system and have trust in that system. I mean, in the years that we have been here with Nancy, we have won, trophies or championships, those types of things with this system. And we've moved pieces around. Cucho's left now, but you've had like Lucas leave, other people who everybody kind of considered like stalwarts in the team, and it's all been okay. So I think, I'm not trying to be Sunshine Brigade here, but like, I think everyone should be very optimistic looking into the future of the second half of the season and these games. And you know what? It's going to be nicer weather at these games. And so in and of itself, we're going to have more fun and the play will probably be more entertaining. And I think that, we just got to let it play out. And like you said, it might get a little rough for the next few games or weeks as we're kind of waiting for maybe some new pieces to come in and that type of thing. But I think everyone's got to be very level headed. Let's all remain calm. You're allowed to criticize the team, but to just go off nonstop, on and on and on, it's exhausting just to read through it. And it's got to be exhausting for individuals who are just constantly in the kind of that mind's headspace also, where it's, let's just let it play out. We can get as angry as we want. We've got a whole second half of the season to do that. Let's not start now.
Hell, we might get Christian back.
Huh?
Yeah, at this rate.
We might get Christian back.
That would actually be, I'd be totally down for that. How do we get him back?
Jeez, man.
He might want back at this point.
That's the biggest question. Any final thoughts?
You know what I forgot to do? I got one of those Wisemen say towels, and I was going to hang it back here. Just realized, completely forgot it. It's here. I'm going to do it next time. I'll have it in the background.
I know Jerald got one.
I made it a point to make sure I got one. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I really want to thank the team in Zenny Optical for keeping us in mind when they came out with that promo. Shout out to them. We're not officially sponsored. I don't want to put that out there, but we saw the wink and the nudge. We know.
Hey,
we saw the hat tip.
We know you're aware of us.
You go on the 14th, you get a scarf and fireworks.
You know what? I won't be here for that.
Happy 614 day.
What's the scarf going to be? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
Put it out there?
I have no idea.
I've already got too many of them, but if someone gets an extra one, I'll take it.
You can't never have enough scarves.
Eventually, I'm going to get that quilt made, that blanket for my living room with all my crew scarves. I just probably need a few more of them.
There you go. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. It's always been fun talking with you guys about the crew and whatnot. Also, the podcast wouldn't be happening without the support of our wonderful people who watch, listen, interact with us on social media, on YouTube, Twitter, etc. We want to thank you guys. 9 subscribers away from 100 on YouTube. So if you are watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed, there is a button that is completely free to hit. Just hit that subscribe button, like the live, turn on the bell for post notifications whenever we go live or post new content. If you are listening on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, Pocket Cast, or Overcast, we want to thank you for listening all the way to the end. If you're watching here on YouTube, we also want to thank you for watching all the way to the end. Hello to those on Goals TV also. We also want to thank you guys for watching to the end of the live stream. You guys can follow us on social media on Instagram at the Wiseman Say Podcast, on Twitter at Wiseman Pod. You guys can follow Jerald on social media
at Jerald_Lucas96.
There's a conga line going on in Edmonton right now. You guys can follow Derik on social media
at Funky Moses 17.
You guys can follow me on social media at Fisher Tyler __. And we want to thank you guys once again for tuning in. Joe, my friend, as tradition goes, Wiseman say,
only fools rush in.
Peace out, everybody. Have a good week. Stay safe, stay hydrated, stay cool. Hug your loved ones. Go Crew.
Go Crew.
Stay wise, y'all.